This video get the kind spoilers, brah. Your name is Alundra. You get shipwrecked on a beach, and a guy named Jess brings you to his house in the village of Inoa. When you wake up, Jess says that you can live in his house for as long as you want. Jess suggests that after you regain your strength, you should take a walk and meet the other villagers. He says they're all pretty nice, but admits that they aren't quite as nice as he is. So you walk out the door, and the first person you meet is a somewhat nerdy-looking, but also cute girl who is about your age, named Sybil. She comes off as a bit of a weirdo because the very first time you see her, she proclaims that you are the one from her dreams. She knew that you were coming here, and she knows that you're going to stay with Jess. And it turns out that she's right. This is a nice village with nice people. Why wouldn't Alundra want to stay here? There's Klein the hunter, Naomi the shopkeeper, Bonaire the surfer dude, Ronan the priest, Giles the evangelist, Talus the mayor's kid who always refers to you as a peasant, Aline the girl that has been driven insane thanks to her father who is an alcoholic. Lovely. Nadia, the girl who is trying to never sleep again because every time she does, something bad happens. And of course, Sybil, the girl whose dreams always come true no matter how fearful and grotesque. Thanks for inviting me to stay, Jess. Sybil's mom, Sierra, says, "There's no need to be afraid of Sybil. She often has strange dreams and speaks strangely of them. But my daughter is a very sweet and loving person." So I was right. She is a weirdo. The first person you meet is Sybil, but the first person that needs your help is Wendell. Wendell is one of the oldest people in the village. He is the only one who has grandchildren. He's trapped in a nightmare and will soon die. It seems that Wendell isn't the first person to be trapped in a nightmare, because rumors that Inoa village was having some kind of nightmare epidemic made it to the capital city, and a scholar named Septimus moved to Inoa village with the express goal of researching and eliminating these nightmares. Now, Wendell is having a nightmare in the very next room, and he doesn't know what to do about it. That is, until you walk in. Septimus takes one look at you and knows that you are from the Elno race. He knows this because everyone in this village is a human, but Alundra has elf ears. With Septimus's assistance, you learn how to use the Elna's innate ability to enter people's dreams and slay the demons. Wendell wakes up as healthy as ever, the whole family is elated, and the entire village thinks you are freaking awesome. Thus began Alundra's adventures in the village of Inoa. You know how these games go. The little girl can't find her cat. Jess needs a new hammer. The mayor wants you to take care of some annoying monkeys outside of town. You'll be the one to make them all happy, and everyone in town will speak highly of you. What a great time we'll have. Soon after saving Wendell, the mine collapses, and all 4 miners from this village die. You watch as Olin, the one miner who made it out of there, dies in the mayor's bed. Now, what did we know about Olin? We knew he was a miner. You may have noticed that his house is a bit north of the rest of the village. The most personal thing we could know is that he was Keisha's boyfriend. Giles, the evangelist, lives with his sister Keisha. Keisha and Olin were young and in love. That's all we know, and that makes it difficult to feel very sad now that he's dead. But the nylon string guitar song that plays does its damnedest to make you cry anyway. When you return to Jess's house, he's building something in the smithy. The sound of his hammer pounding the metal is even more striking than the music. Pun! Listen to that. It's deafening. He tells you that everyone has lost their passion to create things since the king ordered their religious symbols be destroyed. But whenever someone dies, Jess manages to find his passion again. I can almost hear Olin's spirit talking to me, demanding that I make the finest weapons once more. Or even better, demanding that I assist in the fight for this land. Before Olin died, Alundra went into his mine to see if he could find out what happened in the mine. It turns out it collapsed because the Merg, a race of ape people, dug into the mine from the other side and destabilized the entire thing, causing it to cave in. So after all the death and sadness, Alundra uses Jess's newly made weapon to get inside the mine and eliminate all the Merg. Upon returning to the village, Sierra asks you to go to her house and visit Sybil. Sybil tells you that she has dreams not while she sleeps, but while she's awake, and that they always come true. She then asks you to hold her hand and go into her mind to see the dream for yourself. You see Klein, the strongest hunter in the village, transform into a werewolf. We see the king of the Merg is allied with a demon. We see the Merg capture one of Wendell's 2 grandchildren and send Merg into his mind. It's like the old saying goes, if you have infinite monkeys with typewriters, eventually they'll transcend directly into the human mind. Sybil, an innocent teenage girl, cares about her town and begs you to save the village. Soon, Alundra, my dream will become a reality. They all do. That fact frightens me more than anything else. You have to help, please. The first time we met Sybil a day or two ago, she was saying that she saw Alundra in her dreams. Anybody can say stuff like that and they'll all come off as crazy. Now we know she's not crazy. She doesn't know what the king of the Merg looks like. She doesn't know about the demon that's standing behind him. We know that demon. We saw him when we went to Tarn's Manor. His name is Melzis. We should probably pay close attention to anything Sybil tells us from now on. Alundra goes to put flowers on Olin's grave and then goes down into the crypt. It's a dungeon full of riddles. A ghost at the bottom of it tells us that we need the 7 crests to unlock the sunken shrine and defeat Melzis. He's the one who's using nightmares to kill people. Speaking of which, as soon as you get back, 2 people are trapped in nightmares. Nadia and Bonaire. All the crazy puzzles you have to go through in each dungeon are impressive enough, but what's about to happen here left a completely different mark on me. Bonaire and Nadia are both trapped in nightmares. Well, Nadia's not exactly trapped in hers. She is able to wake up, but the nightmare is eating away at her soul even while she's awake. You are there, ready to save her, and she says no. She won't let Alundra into her mind until she can confess her love to Bonaire. So she asks you to bring Bonaire here, which would normally take 32 seconds, but Bonaire is trapped in a nightmare right now. So here is Alundra's plan. You tell me if this is a good plan or not in the comment section. Alundra's plan is to enter Bonaire's dream and get rid of his demon first, then bring him to Nadia, let her confess her love, and then enter Nadia's dream and save her. Is this a good plan? It doesn't sound bad to me given the circumstances, but the results of it blew my mind. You enter Bonaire's dream. You destroy the demon. Bonaire wakes up safe. Just as you're about to take him to Nadia's house, Septimus walks in and tells you that Nadia closed her eyes and failed to open them again. Alundra's plan failed. The nylon string guitar now plays for Nadia. And half of the village, including Bonaire, blames you for her death. This is not the most impactful character death in gaming. This is just one death on the way to it. A lot of people die in this game. A lot more than you would expect. This is the Joker versus Batman scenario, right? The Joker sets up two of Batman's friends in dangerous traps and tells Batman that while he's saving one of them, the other will die. That's not supposed to happen in a village. You do all kinds of little quests for people in video games. The idea that trying to save someone's life and failing results in everyone blaming you for her death, that's not the game I signed up for. Congratulations, Alundra. You subverted my expectations in a way that actually enhances the story. I am shocked and appalled. It is time for one of the harshest series of trials in this game, or any game. We have to go out into the world to find more of the Seven Crests so we can defeat Melzis and stop the nightmares. Anyone in town that you talk to will either tell you that someone has removed the fallen tree that was blocking the way to the Desert of Despair, or blame you for not saving Nadia. Mother! Now, we can set out for the desert right away if we'd like. We're supposed to find the ancient shrine in that desert, and there should be another of the Seven Crests there. Deep into your trip into the desert, but before you actually find the shrine, is a series of platform stunts that have to be performed while the winds of a sandstorm are pushing you. The thing is, if you walk out of the wrong side of the screen, you get sent back to the beginning again. So before you leave for the desert, talk to your favorite person, Sybil. She, unlike the fortune teller who knows exactly where you need to go, will tell you. The great navigator here is the wind. Let yourself be guided by the powerful gusts. If you trust them with insight, you'll find yourself at a great building, a sanctuary. If you didn't talk to Sybil, you would likely be trial and erroring it and getting really freaking angry until you either figured it out or got really lucky. Thank you, Sybil. I appreciate you more. Now begins a seemingly endless trek. I said this was the start of one of the game's harshest trials. It is impressive what the game asks of the player. There are a lot of YouTubers and people who like to take a day off work to play the latest Souls game all day long on launch day. Souls games are really hard, but people have a great time trying to overcome the challenge. There is no way you could play Alundra on release day for 12 hours. I'm serious. This is not about boss battles that deal lots of damage but go down in 12 hits. This is about locking you in a room and telling you, figure it out, and then doing it again in the very next room. The next dungeon is the Ancient Shrine. In order to get to it, you have to go through the Desert of Despair. Trust me when I say the name is appropriate. But to get to the Desert of Despair, you have to go through the Cliffs of Madness. Once again, name appropriate. All you have to do is climb up this one little cliffside, but it's a bunch of jumping puzzles designed to teach the player that the camera angle is not your friend. So you climb the Cliffs of Madness. You reach the Desert of Despair. You find the Sand Cape. And now you can access the Ancient Shrine. 500 puzzle rooms later, you finish the shrine and get the Sand Boots. They're actually called the Long Boots. Until now, sand prevented you from jumping your full height, but now it's no problem. So you're definitely going to realize that the game is telling you there are more things to find in the desert. And since you're already here, you might as well finish the job in one go. So you still can't go home. If you explore further, you'll find yourself doing a 5-stage memory game, not unlike Simon, but slightly different. I haven't told you the real reason why this particular trip must be the biggest player filter in the game. All that stuff I just talked about takes 4 hours to complete. Hell, depending on how difficult you find the puzzles in the ancient shrine, you could take 4 hours without doing the Simon memory game. If this were an RPG, every level up would make the dungeon traversal slightly easier. But this isn't an RPG. The main bad guys here will always take 10 hits with your sword. I feel like my words aren't properly conveying how fatiguing this dungeon really is. After you've completed all of the most difficult puzzles, after you've beaten the boss, after you've used up most of your healing items, and when all you want to do is get out of here and go home, you still have to do this room. This room is sadistic genius. You have to hit this switch, stand over a hole in the floor, and catch the item that falls from the ceiling. You have a 50-50 chance for it to be either a barrel or a giant spiked iron ball. You have to do this until you have 3 barrels. I think that means you're looking at an average of 6 switch presses. After a number of attempts, barrels just stop falling. So you could lose half your HP just to get 2 barrels and then have to start over from 0. As far as I know, where the iron balls and the barrels fall is completely random, and I don't know if anyone is going to have the reaction time to sidestep the iron balls. I'll tell you a trick. You can actually do this puzzle with just 2 barrels and have Alundra step on both the other 2 switches quickly. Phew! Now that a 4-hour dungeon is over, you can finally go home, only to see that Giles, the evangelist, is going around the village telling everyone that you're the reason people are dying in their dreams. And what do you know? Most of the villagers believe him. Despite having just finished what is probably the longest dungeon in the game, there is no story to be had here. Everyone will either tell you how much they hate you now, or they'll tell you that the tide is low enough to access the coastal cave. Hint, wink, nudge. You know what's a dick move? I mean, aside from there being no story after a 4-hour dungeon, and aside from making your survival dependent on a random number generator, and aside from the people you're risking your life to save hating your guts, and aside from the camp, you know what's a dick move? You get back from a 4-hour dungeon and you can save your game, but you can't sleep in your own bed to restore your HP. So it's off to another dungeon, the Coastal Cave. Now, nothing for a while is quite as hardcore as the Ancient Shrine. Nothing is as long, and there aren't any falling random items either. But this is the thing that makes Alundra a memorable experience. Every dungeon is an endless chain of seemingly unfair challenges. How about this room where you have to fight 4 battles on a raised platform? If you fall off during the 4th battle, you'll have to start from the 1st battle again. How about this room where you need to break the pillar to send the iron ball flying in a specific direction? The ball doesn't get disconnected from the pillar at the moment you hit it. You have to hit it when the ball is something like 135 degrees before where you actually want it to be. It's ridiculous. This room alone is 8 attempts minimum. After the Coastal Cave, it's time to return to Inoa Village, where our adoring fans await. A new Dreamwalker has come to town. Her name is Maya, and she's a way better Dreamwalker than Alundra, apparently. So now, half the village hates you for not saving Nadia, and the other half is shunning you in favor of Maya. You and Septimus find Maya in Myra's house, Myra being Nadia's mother. She collapsed from shock at the death of her daughter and fell into a nightmare. Maya saved her, and now everyone is enamored with her, and Alundra can get the fuck out of town. I just want everyone in this room to know that I saved Wendell and Bonaire, while Maya has only saved Myra. I like this aspect of the story. Now Myra is going to let Maya stay with her, now that her daughter is dead, just like Jess is letting Alundra stay with him, now that his wife and son are dead. The next story scene is quite harsh. This was one of the things that Sybil showed us from her dream. Now Klein the hunter is trapped in a nightmare. And Septimus and Alundra have it in their heads to go into his mind and save him. Alundra is the hero of this story. Of course he wants to do that. In every video game story, the hero is unrealistically optimistic about what he can achieve and always manages to emerge victorious against what would be impossible odds in real life. But Maya is over here saying it cannot be done. His soul is doomed. We also have Sybil's word that her dreams always become reality. In this case, that means that Klein is going to be transformed into a werewolf. Septimus is right there with you, saying in front of everyone that we're definitely going to prove Maya wrong. And it's another puzzle-filled dungeon. Lots of really hard ice pillar puzzles in here. I don't think there is anything I would call a dick move. Also, the dream is in a snowy area, and the music is some relaxing jazz. That's an interesting choice when you consider the gravity of our situation. This is the closest thing you get to a break in Alundra. After hard-ass dungeon after hard-ass dungeon, the break you get is a slightly prettier dungeon with happier music. At the end of it is one of the more impressive-looking bosses. And during the battle, Klein's life signs start slipping, and we have to prematurely exit the dream. And then, right there in bed, Klein turns into a werewolf. He runs outside, Alundra follows, and we kill him while the entire village looks on. Maya was right. We couldn't save Klein. Sybil was right too. Her dream became a reality. In death, Klein's body returns to human form. Everybody gathers around him to bow their heads as the nylon string guitar plays its song. It's crazy to me how every day something absolutely horrific happens. But the next morning, the music is the most sparkling, optimistic song ever. If I didn't know this was Alundra music, it would make me want to sit up in bed, do a nice loud stretch, and say to myself, it's time to start another great day. Of course, since Klein died, Jess has made a new weapon for us. It's a crossbow. Pretty cool. Too bad the damage is 1. The damage is 1. 1 damage. Everyone in the whole goddamned village, literally goddamned village, is telling me that there's a swamp to the southeast where a bunch of lizard dudes live. And you know, if God can get us through our dreams, and the Merg can get to us through the mine, the lizard people can probably get to us too. So can you take care of that for us? Oh, and yes, we all still hate you. Just to put things in perspective, it's not actually the entire village that hates you, just most of them. For example, Ronan and Giles are blaming all of the deaths that have occurred on you. Beaumont, the mayor, is considering banishing you from the village at the request of Ronan. But Beaumont's wife, Thea, doesn't have any mean words for you. And it's the same thing with several others. Bonaire is still bent at you for not saving Nadia, even though you saved him. But his father isn't mad at you. Lutus thinks Maya is a way better dreamwalker than you are, but his wife and his father don't make derogatory comments like that. The thing is, none of them say anything to support you either. They just comment on the current situation. The only people that truly believe in you or even appreciate you are Septimus, Jess, and Sybil. And perhaps Sybil's mom, Sierra. She really seems to like it when you come around and spend time with her daughter. Anyway, it's time to slay some lizards. This is another particularly long, particularly tiring dungeon. It's probably the only dungeon where the combat situations are more difficult than the puzzles. This dungeon throws a lot of lizards at you. I burned through a lot of healing items during this dungeon. There are multiple rooms that have more than 8 lizards that you must defeat to move on. A couple of the lizard types have projectiles, and one of them has a shield that blocks your attacks. I actually died once during this dungeon, despite being a pro Alundra player. After you finish another lengthy dungeon, it's back to Inoa Village. Later in the game, we'll be told that Melzis is only afflicting people with these nightmares at night when they're asleep. So I guess we're supposed to assume that Alundra is traversing these dungeons all day and overnight, so that when he arrives back at the village, it's the early morning. Because it's always daytime when people notice that someone is trapped in their dream. You'll never believe who it is this time. It's the biggest anti-Alundra activist in the village, Giles. Well, well, well. What do you want me to do, Giles? Do you want me to save you? If I save you, are you going to stop telling everyone that I'm a demon? You know, Maya's saying there's no way to save you. The last time Maya said that, she was right. And you're kind of a bitch. So I'm just going to go home and let you guys take care of this one. Of course, it's not that simple when Giles' sister, Keisha, is standing right there. I beg of you, Alundra, please enter my brother's nightmare. Maya says it was too late to do anything, but I want you to try. I can't just stand here and let him die. I know you have no reason to help my brother after what he said about you, but I hope that you find it within your heart to forgive him. You're my last hope, my only hope. All right, Keisha. You go into Giles' nightmare, which is one of the most confusing ones yet. I still don't fully understand what happened in this dream, but it seems like I walked into a room, walked right back out the same door I came in, and the area was different. The boss was the same as in Klein's dream, the Soul Leech. I don't know what's up with this boss's HP. I used bombs exclusively, and it took 1,000,000 of them. To everyone's surprise, Giles is saved. Keisha is happy. Giles actually thanks you. And Beaumont says that we need to go to Magiskar, where all the villagers are praying for Giles, and tell them the good news. And from this point on, finally, people don't hate Alundra anymore. Jeez, all I had to do is the impossible to get them to like me again. In Magiskar is another complicated as heck dungeon. You'll be there at least an hour. In the morning, Sybil is waiting outside. She wants to show us another one of her dreams. So you take her soft hand in yours, and you see some really important stuff. You see Lutus saying that he's willing to sacrifice himself so that Jess can make a holy sword to fight evil. You are not afraid, just determined to emerge victorious. Even though all of Sybil's dreams portend horrific events, nobody else's words gives me the strength to go on like hers do. Now that Maya has seen your impressive ability, she is totally on your side. She tells you that the god that Ronan and all the villagers are praying to is actually Melzis, the same god that is haunting their dreams. So you decide to confront Ronan about this and go to the church, which is locked. So you break in through a window, solve a bunch of puzzles, no combat, and eventually find Ronan in a secret basement. Sure enough, within this basement is a giant statue of Melzis. Since it's in a basement with a hidden entrance, I want to say that he was keeping this statue a secret. But Ronan says multiple times from this point onward that everybody knows about this statue. Now, I don't know about you, but right at this moment, all I wanted to do was destroy that statue and be done with it. I don't care if it's heavy-handed, bitches be dying, and blaming it on me. But what happens is Septimus says that we're never giving up our fight against evil, God or not. And Ronan says, like God is really afraid of you, Septimus. It really makes me wonder if this is the right approach. Even if you've never played the game before, it's easy to think about what could have been. If we just destroy the thing, we might earn the ire of the entire village. But by leaving it there, doesn't that mean that Melzus can still enter people's dreams and kill them? Even if they hate us after this, at least they could live in peace afterwards. The only people that would be on your side are Septimus, Jess, and Sybil. And Sybil's mother, Sierra. I have to say, the way she's always hinting at how she wants Alundra and Sybil to become boyfriend and girlfriend is heartening. That a mother would approve of you so much that she hopes you end up dating her daughter when everybody else in the village is condemning you says a lot. It says a lot about the kind of person she is. She believes her daughter, the one who has crazy visions and tells people about them, more than she believes anyone else. Keisha is a nice girl, and in the face of all these horrific events, she's shown a fairly strong face throughout. Even though her religious fanatic brother is constantly telling her that we need to have faith in the gods, she has a healthy skepticism for it as she sees events unfolding in the village. It's really sad that her boyfriend Olin was killed almost as soon as you arrived. As the savior of her brother, I could totally see Keisha developing feelings for you once this is all over and done with. Eileen is just a little girl, and everybody else is somebody's wife. So the only eligible romantic interests are Sybil and Keisha. And the thing about Keisha is that she doesn't have a portrait, so she's not the love interest. In most games, you know at a glance exactly who the love interest is. In this game, they've been hiding her all along, albeit in plain sight. If you got the European version of this game, the title is The Adventures of Alundra. It gives off the impression that after this adventure is over, he moves on to another town for a new adventure. But I don't think that's the case. I think Alundra wants to stay in Inoa. I think he likes Jess, and he wants to win over the people. And if the best possible ending occurs, we'll destroy Melzus, the village will be at peace, Sybil will be freed from her visions, both Jess and Sierra will be happy again, and Alundra and Sybil will have their super cute, totally innocent, teenage love story. But this story is becoming more and more impossible because if we destroy the statue, we'll be banished, and if we don't, more people will die. With all this in my head, and Ronan in Alundra's head, you somehow manage to fall asleep at night. And you wake up to the sound of Jess's hammer. What? You run downstairs and Jess gives you a power glove. Awesome! Jess's passion for building has returned. Now he can build things without anyone else having to die. Finally, something good happens in this game. Wait a minute. What if someone actually did die? I was thinking it, and then Jess actually said it. Then I realized that another of the villagers must have died. I paused so hard on this text box. I stopped pressing buttons as all the villagers' names scrolled through my mind. Who could it have been? Who did Melzus get to this time? I start going through all the possibilities. Is it Keisha, Giles' sister? Is it Aline, the insane girl? Is it Gustav, her drunkard father? Talus, the mayor's son? Is it Septimus? Please don't let it be Septimus. Is it Sybil? Please don't let it be Sybil. Ludus. Ludus said he was going to sacrifice himself so Jess could make a holy sword.